So the law of cosines is something that you use when you're trying to find a side or an angle of a non-right triangle, okay? SOHCAHTOA is what you use for right triangles. Law of sines and law of cosines is what you use when you have a non-right triangle, okay? So we're going to talk about law of cosines today. We'll talk about law of sines on Wednesday since that is our longer day, okay? And so to know when to use law of cosines over the law of sines is when you have these two situations. You use law of cosines if you have a side angle side situation or side side side, meaning they give you two sides and it includes an angle, or they give you all three sides, okay? And you're still trying to find angles and sides, okay? So in this case, in the very first case, what are you looking for? The other side and two angles. And in the second situation, what am I looking for here? All three angles. Now, hopefully we remember also from geometry how many degrees are in a triangle? 180. So we really don't have to use the law of cosines, 3 times. Once I find my second angle, I can just subtract the other two from 180. You guys remember that? Okay, so that you can still use that. So, what are your formulas for the law of cosines? Well, the very top basically tells you how to find a side. Okay? The top formulas tell you how to find a side. Hopefully you recognize with the top formulas that they're basically the same format, okay? In this very first situation where it's a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of angle A, this is what you would use, say, if you were looking for side A and they gave you angle A, okay? Let's just quickly review, just in case for those who don't know. If I have a triangle labeled A, B,
Teachers, at this time, would you please?
So just to review real quick, if I have a triangle labeled A, B, C, where do you think side A is? Opposite from angle A, okay? So side A is opposite angle A, side B is opposite angle B, side C is opposite from angle C. So in this particular, the very first situation, say they told you that B was 8, C was 10, and this angle was 80 degrees. Well then, using this very first formula would be the easiest to help you find side A. Side A would be the easiest thing to find first because of what you're given, okay? Now the other two, they are the exact same setup. The only difference is you're looking for side B and you were given angle B. Or you were looking for side C and they gave you angle C, okay? Yes?
They're always going to give you like side C and angle C, like, or they're always going to give you one and not the other?
Yes. In the situation for the law of cosines, they'll give you one of these 3 angles, which means that they're not going to give you the side across from the angle they give you. So that's how you know which one to use. Now the alternate form is basically these top formulas rewritten to find an angle, okay? Like if I wanted to solve for the cosine of A, I would have to subtract B, subtract C, divide by a negative 2bc, and it basically gives you this formula, okay? So the alternate form is just this top formula rewritten so that you can find an angle, okay? Now, say you don't remember this formula, well, if you plug everything into the top formulas, you can always, solve respectively, okay? Yes?
Okay, you said divided by negative 2bc. How come in the alternate form it's not a negative?
Okay, so if we subtract b squared and c squared to the other side, this is what we would end up having, cosine A. And then when we divide by a negative 2bc, this is going to basically change the orientation. If I wanted to make the bottom positive, I basically would have to change the sign of everything. And then that's how it ends up becoming a positive b squared and a positive c squared. Does everybody see that? That's how you would go about doing it. And then, of course, they put it at the instance to subtract. Yes?
So alternate form is for finding angles.
Yes, the alternate form is for finding angles. okay? And just like before, you see if you're looking for angle A, you subtract side A. If I was looking for angle B, I would be subtracting side B. And then these would change. This one would change. Okay? Questions? So let's look at an example. Solve the triangle. Which situation do we have here? Do we have side, 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 or side, angle, side? Side, angle, side, okay? So they give us angle C, they give us side B, and they give us side A because they're opposite of those two angles. So what would you say would be the first or the easiest thing to find first? If I'm trying to solve this triangle, that means find all the angles in the side. Side C, because we're given angle A, angle C, so it'll be easiest to find side C. So we set up the formula, we plug everything in. It's going to be C squared equals 2 squared plus 3 squared, so plug in A and B, minus 2 times 3 cosine angle C, which was what? 60. Okay? And so we basically, what we can do is we can actually just type this whole line into our calculator, okay? Type this whole line into our calculator. Are you fine? So once you type it in, you see you get 7. So C squared equals 7. To find C, what would I need to do? Take the square root, okay? And for the sake of this class, we're going to round to 2 decimal places, okay? So when we take the square root of 7, what do we get? So 2.65. And that is side C. Well, technically it keeps going, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That still have in your calculator?
Yeah.
You're not going to clear it out, are you? No, because we're now going to have to use this side to help us find the angles, correct? And we want to make sure that we use the exact answer versus the rounded answer, all right? So now, we got our angles left. Which angle do you want to solve for? A. Doesn't really matter if we do A or B. So, to find the angle, we would need to use the alternate form, which says cosine of angle A equals what? B squared, so 3 squared, minus 2.65, or whatever decimal we still have in our calculator, right?
Yeah.
Squared minus 2 squared, because it's A squared, so that goes on the end, all over 2 times dot, dot, dot. Okay, so we go and we type that into our calculator. Now remember, if we press the second negative button, it takes the previous answer down, okay? And that's what we want. We want to use that 2.65, whatever number. So when we go to type it in, 3 squared, well that's easy, that's just 9. Plus this long decimal, so second answer, squared, minus 2 squared. And I'm going to click enter here. The reason why is because I have to divide by 2 times B times C. And it's that entire number that needs to be divided. So I'm going to put that into parentheses. Or if you want to, you can do it all in one line. Just make sure you use the parentheses or other number and so 2 times, help me out, 3 times that long decimal. You have that option to go back. Shall we get this? So if it's about 0.7559 to how do I find angle A? How did I find the angle in the warm-up? The inverse, okay? So I have to press second cosine and then second answer to transfer that decimal all the way down. So second cosine, second answer, and we get, you guys get that number? So there's our angle, 40.89. So 40.89 is angle A. Questions? To find angle B, we can use what we remember from geometry. How many degrees in a triangle? 180, so we can subtract 60 and 40.89, dot, dot, dot.
79.4.
And there is our last angle. And you have successfully solved the triangle. You have found all the missing angles and all the missing sides. Let's kind of speed this up a little bit. Let's look at the next one. Do I have side, 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 or side, angle, side here? Side, angle, side. So which would be easiest to solve for? Side B, because we're given angle B. So let's set it up. It's going to be B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2 times A times C cosine 91. Okay? You guys tell me, what is side C? Not C squared, but what is side C? So yes, you should have gotten 3.63. Because when you type this all in, B squared should have been about 13.209 and some change. So when you took the square root, you should have gotten 3.63 for side B. Okay? Now we gotta find our angles. Which angle do you want to find first? C. Okay. So it's going to be the cosine of C. So then what do we need to do? Switch C and A. So the setup is going to be B squared plus A squared minus C squared over 2BA. Okay, so whatever angle you're looking for, you subtract the side opposite of it. Okay, that's how you make the change when you're looking for a different angle. Okay, so I'll give you guys a minute to try to figure out, see if you can find angle C, and then I'll check with you, okay? Okay, what'd you get?
I got 33.38 for C.
33.38? Good, it should have been 33.38. So when you plug everything, anybody not get that?
Excuse me?
Yes. Okay, so C. So then you plug in B. Okay, so that's basically your answer from before. Squared plus 3 squared minus 2 squared all over 2 times that answer times 3. So when you go to type it in, raise your hand if you typed it all in one line. Who tried that? You did? Okay. So, this is from the previous one. So this is what you should have gotten when you typed it all in. Cosine inverse and 33.38.
I like this one.
So there's angle C, 33.38. Using what we know about triangles, 180 minus 91 minus 33.38 and some change, and we did 55.62. That's another way you can also check. Say you work this out, you do all the math, all your numbers don't have to be 180 degrees or something. Questions using side angle side. This is the case where we have all three sides. So we're looking for all three angles. Which angle you want to find first? C. So that means we need to do B squared, which is what? What's B squared? 3 squared plus A squared minus 6 squared all over 2 times A, or B times A. we gotta go into our calculator. Let's just double check, make sure everyone can get this right number, this correct number, okay? So let's type it in.